2, declarations of interest. To know any declaration of interest made by members in connection with an agenda item, members to specify the nature of the interest. Anybody? B, to receive any written request for dispensations and to grant any request for dispensation as appropriate. Finally, housekeeping. There are no planned fire alarms. If there are, there's a fire between here and there. Please go out that door to escape. The meeting may be recorded. The meeting may also be recorded and broadcast by the press, members of the public. Please see Section 8, the guidance for public participation, including recording and the use of social media and meetings. Item number 3, community safety update. Received reports from the police. Have we heard from them? But we did see them last time. The ACSO's report was included in the call pack. Anybody got anything they'd like to raise in regards to the note? No? Right, move on to item 4, minutes. To approve the council minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of July 2024. Shall run through page 1. Everyone happy? Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Would anyone like to propose?
I'll propose.
Anyone second? All in favour of signing? Item number 5, Chairman's announcements. Firstly, I'd like to thank the officers, especially Emily, the volunteers, organisations and businesses, and the councillors for high practice stellar reporting. The day went well, the brass band were entertaining, and those who received nominations and awards for environmental champion and community spirit were well deserved. Hyde was very busy and lots of interest shown in the various organisations and businesses and stores. Councillors last week were shown a new tractor shed by the maintenance team, which is a great improvement of the old. I would like to let everyone know that New Christchurch Council have placed a bid on the old police site for social housing. With agreement with fellow councillors, I would like this parish council to send a letter of support to the PCC for NFDC's bid. 2 items to note. Watercan are holding a talk on Monday 30th at 7 p.m. at the Methodist Church Hall behind the Soul Cap North Road in Purley about wood burning. And ExxonMobil will be testing the public warning system next Tuesday on the 1st of October at 2:30 and 7 p.m. Today, Councillor Malcolm Wade and myself were at a Port Consultative meeting, and there was a brief discussion regarding the Hyde Ferry. Needless to say that we are bound by confidentiality at this point, but they are doing lots of things behind the scenes, so if we can please just bear with them for the next few weeks. But it was made very clear that we do need to use the service when it is back up and running. It is very important. And finally, there was the sad loss of Chris Neary, a former councillor, in August, and I believe Councillor Malcolm Wade would like to say a few words.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Chris Neary joined this council in 1991, the same time as I did. I've known Chris ever since then, both as a councillor, he was, but also as a work colleague, because he worked with me at COVID. He was a really genuine guy, and he really cared about the community, and he brought his own down-to-earth approach to things. And that's what's good about Chris. What you saw was what you got, and he really cared about things that were right for the area, Hyde Gibden and its people. He would be a sad loss.
Thank you. Item number 6, report by county and district members. to receive brief verbal information, reports from council and district councillors on matters concerning the parish. Do I understand we've had nothing from Waterside South?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Cycle.
I have to make up for it. No, sorry. Right, well, since the last council meeting, the Hampshire County Council deficit has grown from 132 million to 175 million, leaving a gap after cuts of around 85 million black hole. Where if there is no funding from central government, it will require council to issue a 114 notice in 2026, which means they are bankrupt, metaphorically speaking. And this is not an interpretation by me, this came from the finance officer in the county council. The cuts being looked at currently, as part of the first, not the only 99, are as follows: highway maintenance, highway winter services, passenger transport, school crossing patrols, homelessness service, adult social care grant scheme, library stock, household waste recycling centres, competitive one-off grants, Hampshire Cultural Trust grant, rural countryside parking, that means bringing it in, street lighting, and adult social care charging. So far, the committees have agreed to bring parking charges in rural areas, reduce pre-planned highway maintenance, but this has been offset by government funding, and to reduce highway winter service. Reduce library stock, reduce grant schemes, stop concession homeless support services, withdrawal of free adult social care grant schemes, and changes to the way non-residential care costs are calculated. On Thursday, it will look at recycling centres. Tomorrow. Whilst on Monday, I attended the Universal, as a deputy in that committee, Universal Services Committee, which looked at school crossing proposals and reduction of street lighting. Results were a passionate debate on that topic, school crossing patrols, which saves very little in the context of the financial black hole itself. They wanted to stop 117 school crossing patrols immediately and review the other 152, some of which are in Ivan Hipping. Unless there's a few school crossing patrols in Hampshire where the schools provide them as an SLA. They're the only ones that in theory would survive this. I spoke heavily against this and would not support the paper. All members were uncomfortable with this, and an amendment by one councillor, one of the sites in his ward, proposed to suspend the recommendation to all the sites have been reviewed and then bring the actions back to the committee, which could include keeping the school crossing patrols in certain areas, because in certain areas they recognise they will not be able to remove a school crossing patrol. I'd like to think Uruguay would be one of them. This would allow us, anyway, by accepting this amendment, which defers it, and it deferred the 17 stops as well, 2 in Richmond South Waterside. This would allow us to defend our local sites in detail rather than office a decision, which would be if we had gone with the original recommendation. So we all supported it cross-party because it was the best we could get. The other item was reduction of street lighting by dimming and shutting off street lights from 12 o'clock 5 a.m. rather than 1 till 4. These changes could be altered locally if the security safety issue raised by the police. The police can do that. They're worried about the street, they can have the lights turned off. Or a local member or local organisation can also influence this policy. An amendment supporting the other factors was proposed and accepted, which we supported. Tomorrow the decision is on the recycling centres, and I will be attending that to speak on behalf of the New Forest recycling centres. The problem with this, these are all recommendations that go to the Cabinet. Now, interestingly, this is the Cabinet were all there, all of them, every member of the Cabinet, we sat the square, and then a line behind us at their own table listening to the debate. They must have loved me. Anyway, the issue about this is that it's their decision to make a reverse all of these amendments and do what the original officers say. The factor is, even if we did shut all of these things, it still leaves a 90% black hole. So what the street lights save $500,000, the school crossing patrol 1.2 million, in a gap of 175, that's billions. You know, and we'll have to look at the value of these services versus the cost. It's easy to understand the cost. If you're not going to solve it, we might as well make it 5 million extra, keep the recycling centres, keep the school crossing patrols, but in the lights. School crossing patrols only gets, I think is it 1.6 million? It's nothing, is it really? Well, it is a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to the overall black hole. So, we will see what happens with the recycling centres tomorrow. And we will see if the Cabinet decides to follow the recommendations where there have been amendments, and there's been some quite a few of these, or whether they decide to resort back to the original recommendation. Watch this space.
We'll move to districts, in which case, do you wish to talk districts, or would you like to move
I'll do whatever you want to. I'm in your hands.
Councillor McAnway.
Right, this is really short. Right. Since the last district meeting, a number of issues have arisen. Firstly, the mid-term financial plan plods on well with a rephrasing of a number of projects amounting to 3,229,000. Right? But surprise, surprise, the income from increased parking charges has not increased by its target 200,000. Overall, that despite some unforeseen expenditure and unforeseen income means that they're now 40% better off, despite all the extra things. The new waste strategy puts the introduction of wheelie bins in the waterside into phase 3, which is 2026. On another topic, after much lobbying and nagging, NFDC started to look at strategies for the coastline community, which would include our community sea frontage. Finally, the debate over the CO2 pipe from Exxon into the English Channel via the New Forest the other way is twofold. Firstly, on the appropriateness of the type of carbon storage in the first place, and secondly, over its route. There we should be parochial, and it has to be built and ensure it goes. It has to ensure it goes from the other way. And today, myself and Chairman Ed, the ABB meeting, I'll just have one final point. You may not have noticed this, that the Alton and the Welsh contradicted something he said in the last meeting. I asked him a number of questions about the debate. I asked him about the number of vehicles that will be taking cars off the debate itself. And he said that I'm going to try and get some on the train, or put some on the train. When I asked him last time, he said there's no way we can put them on the train because it's not the way business works. You don't put cars on trains, you go on the car train and take it out. So he contradicted himself there. But he wouldn't tell us how many vehicles it would be, and he wouldn't even tell us how many leave the port at the moment. Although one of his colleagues knew how many container lorries came off the port, but wouldn't share with us how many car transporters come off the port, probably not wishing to frighten us over much about what's coming. But the plans are going through next year. I believe he said by the second quarter. That's what
it was generally that this coming year would be when they would be preparing, and it wouldn't be a planning application, it would be a direct to the government.
And the objective is, it will be a Secretary of State decision, the objective is it's going to be for 2031, that's their target. Thank you.
Councillor Mark Clark?
No.
No? Councillor Alex Wade?
I haven't read the report, so
we knew.
first.
No?
No?
We had that discussion just now.
Okay, fine. Okay, on September 16th, councillors, full council approved the transformation strategy business case. It's an acknowledgement that the council will review assets that are not well utilised and previously due to new ways of working, which I spoke actually on the benefits of flexible and hybrid working, ensuring the council attracts and maintains talent, particularly with families to work and contribute to the council. They also voted on the performance management framework, which features a host of KPIs to monitor performance. I did vote for it on balance. I did note topics such as housing waitlist numbers and complaint targets are not there, and there needs to be an effective way of reporting these moving forward. We also voted on the customer strategy, where again the importance of the parish and town district offices was highlighted by councillors, and ensuring consistent access for all residents, and indeed on all forms of technology. Councillor Clark will be pleased. NFDC councillors have confirmed that they've highlighted the concern for members to the government over the planning reforms, and the portfolio holder will be writing to the government, including concerns over local communities not having their say on development. I did ask a question on funding that wasn't provided for NFDC, unlike the majority of our other councils in the county, the funding to support ASB through a community warden initiative. I was advised by the portfolio holder we didn't meet the eligibility, as ASB is not an ASB hotspot according to the Home Office data. However, we were successful in other grant applications for weapons prevention, drug and alcohol awareness, and community support and targeted outreach. Malcolm's spoken about the wee bins, so I won't go into detail about those. Needless to say that there will be still communal bins for flats, no changes to how NFDC collect grass, and NFDC are developing collection rounds to understand which phase each property and district will be in as they progress with arrangements for new service. In my district ward, I have a marina, I have townhouses, I have a host of masonettes, and residents ask me a lot of questions of wheelie bins in the process. Consultations. NFDC want to know your thoughts on the proposed changes to the council tax reduction scheme, and they also want to know your information on polling stations in the district. The latter on the 29th of September. It was recently reviewed, and obviously with the new boundaries that we had last year, information is online. The LCYWP is also open for consultation, which is obviously the local council walking, and again seeking people's advice on that. So I'd encourage you to share that where possible. Housing. Orchard Gate site has officially had its groundbreaking ceremony with AJC Homes beginning work on the site. They also have continued work on Hyde Hospital on behalf of NFDC with 22 affordable homes. Interestingly, the local councils visited one site and not the other for understandable reasons, although the portfolio holder was at both. I won't mention the police station, which has already been highlighted. Homelessness. 59 families needed emergency accommodation in August, with only 11 securing 6 months or more accommodation and 2 remaining in their existing homes. Affordability, rents and needing to move out as you grow older are among the reasons, and landlords looking to sell has come up in recent casework. Numbers are rising for those families in emergency accommodation over the last 6 weeks, and over £121,000 a month is being spent on emergency accommodation by NFDC. That has reduced in recent years. And 7k is spent monthly to secure rent in advance of private sector payments. There are no verified rough sleepers at the time of the report. Sean was there and we've seen that as well. Housing register. At the end of August, there were 2,061 households on the NFDC waiting list, which is rising monthly and yearly, about 20% year on year, with 36 band 1, 416 band 2, 676 in band 3. Just to put that context, NFDC only allocated a total of just under 20 houses in the last month for property, so it shows how the numbers are going up. It is challenging in this area for housing. NFDC is decommissioning the In Touch app. It will be no longer available for reporting issues after the 11th of October, so please share that widely. It's been made following a review of the app's usage, effectiveness and cost. I attended Resources and Transformation last Thursday, which is why I've written an essay for this report. Citizens Advice Bureau shared their excellent work in the latest report. They have helped 6,500 people in the last year. That's a 21% rise on last year, by the way. Who they helped with 19,500 issues on benefits, charitable support, housing, food banks, and more. It's estimated every person has an average of 3.5 issues that need addressing. And people are accessing CAB 41% face-to-face, 36% web chat and 23% on the phone, and 60% people felt less stressed and anxious after the services. The top 5 advice areas are not a surprise. They are benefit, tax credits, charitable support, the food banks, debt, housing and utilities. And there's a huge discussion on the cost benefit there, because so for every £1 they invest, there is a saving of £2.98 in public services, £20.36 in wider economic value. They have 65 volunteers who offer 1,700 hours of support. And the district contributes 29% of their funding. Obviously, town and parish councils like us contribute 3%, and the lottery 26%. They're looking and working on issues around energy costs and financial inclusion, among others. It was a really good presentation, and it highlighted the valuable work they do. They do plenty of partnership working with the NFPC, and there is project-based funding available. I did ask questions on the longevity of the debt support funding by the lottery, and they have a schools financial support project that I hope extends to the east. It's currently just in the west of the district, supporting deprivation for low-income families. There was also a discussion on how NFDC continues to support CAB, and Lynd End Council's proposed a 5-year rolling fund, but I think the majority council wish to have a 3-year fund as existed, but obviously still with inflation. I won't mention the transformation update, which I've mentioned elsewhere. Just that obviously on the asset review, I did make the point that if they can repurpose any assets rather than sell them off to certain organisations and retirement homes, this might be better supported. It was highlighted by a colleague of mine on a Livington issue, but I think it might be a useful thing to raise, because obviously the council changes its ways of working. Solent Freeport. We had an update on Solent Freeport, which NFDC are putting all their support behind and are keen to push forward. It's a key driver of the council's economic prosperity, and a plan will be coming into the council shortly to discuss their plan forward. It will be increasing port capacity by 40%, and AUP's strategic land reserve being the closest to our community. The estimated jobs are now 16,000, with 7,000 created in New Forest estimated. It's a reduction of the original business case of 50k. The tax side benefits are being extended to 2032, and they've estimated 511 million retained business rates, with 290 realised from NFDC area. It's obviously a multi-year period, 25-year investment programme. Dibden Bay obviously is a national significant infrastructure project, so a development consent order process will likely kick off at the end of this year. It will take 2 years and the decision made in 28-29 with a focus on the automotive industry. At Fawley, a new plant is expected to be used by Q1 25 and consulting on the CO2 pipeline. The Fawley Waterside seed money of 4.6 million is still unspent, and ongoing discussions between NFDC and the Freeport on this site. That money must be spent by March 2026, and a recent call for projects for 25 million capital funding for the Freeport has been given. The business rate retentions are still quite small. I think only about 1.1 million expected in 2025-26, but NFDC suggests these figures will rise. NFDC's priorities here are widely constructed employment, skills and transport. The accountable body for the whole project is our colleagues in Pompey City Council. NFDC are fully in support of this and make it clear that you need planning permission for any development in the Bay as a DCA development consent order. But it is clear to me and local members that NFDC appear unlikely to support this community when Dibden Bay comes forward, who are genuinely against any development. And I raise this point to the Conservative portfolio holders and the officers, that it feels like NFDC have made their mind up, and with Waterside Railway no longer going ahead, or the Waterside no longer happening, the impact on our community is significant, with reduced benefits to our community. I felt that as one of the Waterside councils in the room, that our community aren't being listened to. In response, NFDC have highlighted that the planning process will be through a DCSO. The unemployment numbers in our community are lower than in other Freeport areas, and that 7k is unlikely to come from our area, and that the local plan mentions consideration for Dibden Bay developments. The leader of NFDC has confirmed the Freeport board have met with the government, who are fully support Freeports and not disbanding them, and she shared her enthusiasm for the project. She believes there will be benefits, and she will never give up on the project. And NFDC will be invited to discussions with other authorities over a devolution bill, which will include a mayor for Hampshire. To put it bluntly, we won't have our say, but our leader will do her best to argue for NFDC.
Thank you.
I didn't read everything.
Councillor Cullen.
Okay, I attended the full council meeting. I attended task and finish groups about financial strategy and affordable housing, and oversight and scrutiny panels on HR and housing. I've attended briefings on the new planning framework and the CO2 Exxon pipeline, and I've been dealing with casework mainly related to housing. If that's whet your appetite, feel free to come and speak to me if you want more detail. Okay.
and Transware.
Okay, finally, we've also got Councillor Dow's report. So, District Council report, 30th of 7th, 24, affordable housing. Currently mostly briefings about the current situation, local planning and affordable housing is a key topic of the new government. No details at the moment. 7th of August, Cabinet meeting. The District Council is currently looking to change the way it interacts with its customers. I've asked a specific question about accommodations for the 15% or 1 in 7 of the community who are neurodivergent, given that 20% or 1 in 5 do not complete the communication process. 2nd of September, 9th of September and the 17th of September, Financial Strategy Task and Finish Group. This is a group that is expected to question Cabinet members on their financial plans to establish whether or not they are achieving value for money for our taxpayers. The district is moving to a more target-driven approach, so we would want to see that areas of underperformance are both understood and addressed. 9th of September, Local Plan Working Group. The District Council is beginning the process of developing a new local plan. Any changes to the local plan will impact all the current neighbourhood plans. I've asked repeatedly that the District Council engages proactively with towns and parishes, such as ours, that have a neighbourhood plan. This is spelled out in non-statutory guidance as best practice by the government. We have to be vigilant as a community that our needs and aspirations are given due weight in any changes that are proposed. We will move on to item 7, reports from members serving on outside bodies. To receive brief verbal updates from parish councillors who serve as representatives on councils on outside bodies. Councillor Cullen.
Okay, Councillor Harrison and Councillor Delvere and myself sit on the Waterside Community Fund, and in the past month the Waterside Community Fund has given up grants worth £2,860 between Fawley and Highland Dipton. 2 of the applications were for Fawley for £500 and 3 were for Highland Dipton for £2,360. Can I just remind councillors to promote the Waterside Community Fund if you know of organisations or individuals who may be in need? Thank you.
Councillor Delvere, anything? No? Councillor Harrison.
The value of the Waterside Community Fund investment is at the moment £10.843 million.
Lovely.
2 minutes.
Anybody else in the room wish to report on an outside body? If not, I have Councillor Dow's report. 24th of July, Hospital Transport Working Group. This is a group with representation from a group of local town and parish councils to explore the possibility of a service linking Leamington Hospital with Southampton General with a pick-up point in each participating community. This is following the concern that Community First is likely to lose the county council funding. 40 parishes decided not to continue. 29th of August, Tourism Working Group met, great feedback from the Pirate Day ceremony families involved, hoping to repeat next year. Lots of enthusiasm for the Scarecrow Trail, music in the city, Heritage Day, good feedback even though it rained. Raft raised lots of funds. 5th of September, Waterside Climate Action Network planning for a Hive activity event. Councillor Wayne.
Yeah, it's just on age concern, just a reminder that if you know anyone who might value from services such as foot clinic or ear cleaning clinic, to contact age concern. And we also do stuff about dinner clubs and anyone aged 65 or over within the area. They do an amazing service, and obviously their new family shop, which has been open for years, doing an incredible job from DP. And as Alan's here, I think it's only fair that I mention the Highfield Heritage Association voting platform. On the pier, it's a much success, and as much as we're all disappointed about the ferry not running, it has allowed the Highfield Association to do a lot of their replacement works on the pier, such as new fencing, new gates, and it's probably somewhat given them an opportunity to do some more work there that has been part of the long project, and they're doing an amazing job.
I think, following the meeting that Malcolm and I attended, that we probably do need to have a meeting about Dibden Bay. About Dibden Bay. I think it needs to go on the agenda item, but I think we need to put informally probably discuss it. Item 8, public forum. Are there any written questions by electors attending the meeting?
No, Chairman.
Are there any elector addresses to the meeting? Would either of you like to speak? Please.
Thank you, Fiona. This microphone is working. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. Those who don't know me, and there are a few here who don't, I'm Martin Cox. I've lived in this parish for just over 50 years. What I'm going to talk about tonight is something that's been mentioned already in one of the reports. It's an eyesore. But before I talk about an eyesore, I'm going to slip round standing orders that only allow me to say one subject. And I'm going to say an eyesore is relieved by all the wonderful flowers that have been planted around our parish by the work team of the parish. And they really do make Hyde look great. So, I've got that one in. What I want to talk about is the eyesore that is the old police station. Now, I know that it's been causing you a lot of problems. I've been in correspondence over the years with the Police and Crime Commissioner, what a wonderful title that is, and we know it's been dilly-dallying around with the aim of getting as much money as possible out of it, with the result that the whole building is now falling apart. So I'm aware of your efforts on it. I know you have limited powers in what you can do, but you have identified the need in this parish for affordable housing. You've identified it in your neighbourhood plan, and you've had support of it from the district councillors. Now, what I'm going to mention tonight is something called an unusual act of Parliament called the Levelling Up and Regeneration Act. And what's it got to do with the old police station? Well, what it's got to do with the old police station is that in April this year, on the 30th of April, the Minister brought into regulation Section 190 of the Act. Section 190 of the Act allows for compulsory purchase of land for affordable housing. And not only that, but you think compulsory purchase, we know all about the problems of that. But the interesting thing is that it disallows, in the arriving at the valuation of the land, it disallows hope value. Hope value is the value of the land for future development. So in other words, compulsory purchase can be made at a price equal to the land, but not the potential of the land. Now, to bear in mind that this land is currently, and the building, for what it's worth, is currently priced on application, but I know it's £2 million. And of that £2 million, an awful lot is the hope value, because it's advertised as suitable for development. So, what I'm going to suggest to your parish is that you press through your district council, that the district council take this action which will give us affordable housing in this area. Very important, identified in your neighbourhood plan and brought forward in that manner. I will add one little mention that every stands back from compulsory purchase, all been in all the things, and district council might not like the idea. But district council has to be reminded that the Rural District Council founded the whole of Netley View on compulsory purchase. So there is a long history of compulsory purchase for needed housing. I leave it with you.
Thank you, Mr. Cox.
Second again?
The only thing from my view is I don't think you can compulsory purchase from another statutory authority, which police authorities would think, I think. But we can investigate.
Yeah.
I think we'll get the local NFDC ward member to write to Tim Davis, who's the relevant housing officer. That is me. And I've spoken to Tim Davis a lot about Hyde Police Station over the years, so you won't be surprised. And I can ask the question. Can I ask you to just put in writing sort of your questions to me, just so I can ensure that I'm asking the appropriate questions to the officer, if that's okay? Thank you.
Okay, that's an end to the public forum part. 9 questions. Councillors take 3 questions from councillors. Councillor Clark.
I just wonder the county councillor is aware of the recent Unison report called Councillors on the Brink, and specifically the Unison, which is a national organisation, reports on Hampshire and the issues there in Hampshire within the workforce of Hampshire. And I just wonder whether Unison have had an opportunity, if you're aware, whether Unison have had an opportunity to input to Hampshire's problems and whether the Cabinet have taken that report and what the Unison intend to do with the county.
In all honesty, I would say I have no idea. But I would imagine that they would have ticked the box of engaging with the union. There are no plans for mass redundancies at the moment. Although there will be redundancies with the customer services, clearly, because the decision hasn't been made yet. And then therefore they haven't gone through the process to relieve staff. What they're going to do is have a statutory bare minimum. And a lot of the staff are tied up in social care, and that's not going to change because that is the bare statutory minimum. It's not the discretionary things that they can't get rid of. I mean, I have no doubt that council will engage with the unions because they are pretty good at that sort of thing. I can't say for you.
But we don't know anything about the redundancy.
No, that's the point. Whenever they make a saving, they always put how many tier fees, and not tier fees, that's it, it's like full-time equivalents, it's going to cost, and they do that. But these particular things, for example, reducing the stock in the library will have an impact on staff. You know, obviously cutting the waste bill, but they're not employed by Hampshire, they're employed by the contractor who runs it. So there isn't a sort of a part of expression of body count and sensors for this. There will be some indirect losses, but until they make decisions, we won't be doing that.
Thank you.
Councillor Common.
Tell you first.
Well, it's to you, Councillor. Is it true that the Hampshire County Council are going to be stopping the school meal service and expecting schools either to buy into their service or provide their own provider, in which case the school will need to be able to heat the food, but there is no money available to either upgrade or maintain the school kitchens?
Well, the first thing is quite a lot of incidents. The price of free school meals out by 20p just before the general election. But that information we're told to keep quiet because of the effects of the election. The company that is the main contractor for most of Hampshire schools, not all, Hampshire are divesting themselves of this one now, and they say we're not going to use them anymore. That company will therefore go bankrupt. Many of the schools have started using a different contractor, which is another reason. It's not that one. Hampshire has got no more money to spend than what it spends at the moment on education.
So there'll be no money for the school kitchens, should they be not suitable to be able to eat the meals
well,
that they're buying?
My understanding is, I don't know, I only know the school in Applemore, and Applemore own their own kitchen, it's just a big little running different. So I can't really answer. Different schools may have different arrangements. If you want to email me that question, I will get a technical answer. That's probably fair enough. Chairman, do you agree that with the impending development of Gibson Bay and the many other challenges that affect the waterside area as a whole, that we should try and engage with Tottenham, Marchwood and Fawley to have a more collective approach to dealing with some of these issues? Perhaps initially, certainly I agree with you, we should have a meeting about what we think of Gibson Bay. And once we've done that, we then try and engage with the other councils to try and have a more corporate, if you call it expression, approach which would give us a louder voice than being picked off individually by people like APP and so forth. And I think working in cooperation with other councils could be benefit a bigger part of Dignam and outside as a whole. Just a thought.
I agree. Councillor Ellsworth.
No questions? No, you first, you haven't spoken.
That's okay.
No, please.
Is the chairman aware, as a parish councillor, a staff member of High Ferry and a member of this community, I fully understand the urgency and the desire for a swift return of ferry school services. I too want to see our ferry return as soon as possible. However, I want to clarify the distinct roles I'm managing. My position as a councillor means I advocate for the community's interests here today, while I also serve as the communications and social media manager for the ferry, directly coordinating with Red Funnel, the community, the press and the council on the ferry's behalf. This crossover has at times been difficult, but I need to make the distinction of the two roles clear. I understand that as councillors we have concerns and questions about how the High Ferry operates. However, I kindly ask that these queries be directed through the proper channels, which in the first instance will be staff may do from High Ferry. Notwithstanding the above, I have requested an update based on Councillor Clark's email, and staff has confirmed he will come back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wade.
Yeah, so firstly to Malcolm, Councillor, we've discussed, obviously outside of the other issues that we've discussed, what are the main impacts on our communities from the cuts, particularly around adult and health social care and impacts on transport? Because there's been a lot of talk about the tips, there's been a lot of talk about school crossing patrols, but what are the other likely impacts on our community? What are the headline issues? Because some areas will impact us more than others.
The social care cuts it affects individuals, and I'm not privy to the individuals it will affect any more than anyone else's. Rather than the community as a whole. Children's services is so far in the red, you can't cut anything. There have been no cuts in children's services at all because the cuts we had earlier on and such, they're now at 7 million over budget now. So they can't cut anything. It is what it is. The highways won't affect any more. Now it will anyway. What they've said is you're going to cut the money spent on proactive maintenance. Government has got money to fill that gap for a few years, but with the cost of materials going up and the roads degrading, actually the cost of highways gets worse, but they haven't got the money gets greater to deal with that. So it will have a negative effect on our roads. The winter cuts will affect us to some degree. Fortunately, we are a snowbound community very often, so that probably won't be quite as much. I have to get the list.
No, that's fine.
I think we're going to get there quite a few probably. Right, okay, just briefly, not wishing to take too much time. Passenger transport, well, that is effective across the county where they are reducing substance and bus services beyond what they've already done. School controls we talked about. Homeless support services, again, that is something they're reducing. That will affect people who are in that particular position. Cultural trust grants, they're not going to do any. Well, okay. Rural countryside parking, we haven't got any rural countryside parking in Highland Limited. Street lighting, street lights will be dimmed. There is a slightly more detail than I said, but I think we've been hours talking about that bit. And library stock I mentioned, I spoke to our librarian and she was quite comfortable with what we will do because it's the lesser of evils. So the libraries are safe and we're going to use them as community hubs and they're going to vary the type of stock, so there are over 4 copies of the book, you might want 2. And I think that covers all the ones at the moment.
Thank you.
Just to perhaps get this in the minutes, is the chairman aware that I received a letter from a fairly senior character in the network, Sean Delaney, just suggesting that the Restoring Your Railway, despite that programme being cancelled, irrespective of that, even if it came back online, the Hythe Railway is dead, and therefore open to this meeting for any other suggestions. Perhaps how we advocate how that space could be used.
off the back of that, I believe we probably need to agree that a letter goes to Exxon to ask them if they have any future use of it so that we can get our ducks in a row.
And they agreed because they said they wanted to use it, didn't they, today?
They did, but it probably only goes to the March part.
Councillor Wade.
Webster, because he hasn't spoken yet.
No, sorry, Councillor Wade, you had your hand up.
Okay, right. Is council aware that our community engagement officer, Emily, has co-created the High Scarecrow Festival, a community event that had humongous positive feedback, very packed. It frankly enhanced the hive activity of day and has continued throughout the week. And the amount of businesses who've been pleased about it and got involved, and residents of all ages. And I think it's been a real initiative, and that's come from her. I do know the other person who's created it, so much going interest. But Emily's done a phenomenal job on this, and I think councillors should either the chairman should write to her, or it should be acknowledged how impressed we are with that. So, well done.
Thank you. Councillor Webster.
Actually, I wanted to come in on that topic, which is why I was actually wanting to indicate that statement. We'll go back to Northside Rail. Councillor David Harrison is the chair aware that Councillor David Harrison has written to Alison Welsh of ABP and asked about ABP's interest in the line south of Marchwood. He got a non-committal response. I don't know what that response was exactly, but he said there was willing to discuss. So if the chairman is going to consider writing to Exxon, then the chair could also write to ABP.
Thank you. I was trying to look at the map that he showed with the 3 blobs that were near the tunnels, and the country part of it, with the link between us and Marchwood, seemed to take in the railway line running through it. So whether or not that was something...
But it's very, just a blob.
It was a blob.
Well,
It was a blob. Look at that blob north of it, is kind of what I was thinking. So, thank you. I think we move on to back to more formal things. Item 10, committee appointment. Consider appointing Councillor Webster to the Amenities Committee for the remainder of this council year.
Proposed.
All in favour? Yeah. Welcome, Councillor Webster, to the Amenities Committee. Item 11, audited council account for year 23-24. To note that the annual accounts for financial year 23-24 were returned by the external auditor with no issues. John, anything to say? Thank you. Item 12, finance 2023-2024. A, to receive bank reconciliation for August 2024. So noted as received. To approve the paid expenditure for August 2024. Anyone propose? Thank you, Councillor Cullen. Anyone second? Thank you, Councillor Wade. All in favour? Thank you. Right, we've now come to item 13, the exclusion of the press. To resolve that the press and public be excluded from the meeting for the following business